What is up, RetroManiacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat Podcast. My name is Mike, and I am from Mike's Retro Trading Cards. And I'm joined by two men that were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. Who am I kidding? I'm talking about that guy. They are, of course, Joe Day and EP Eric Pahalik. How you doing, boys?
I often create dinosaurs. I love that movie. Great movie. Great intro. Love it. Jurassic Park. I've rewatched it last night. Amazing. Your thoughts?
Jeff Goldblum is a treasure, national treasure, and he should be protected at all costs.
Born and raised, Jeff Goldblum.
And for the viewers at home, in case you can't tell by this reaction, we did a first take of this, and neither one of them knew what movie I was quoting.
Mike felt
I thought I had a slam dunk, and it was like a total fart in church, right? Like it just did not work.
Mike felt like me when I said Irish goodbye, and these two had no idea what I was talking about. So it feels good. It feels good.
Well, they can't all be winners. You know, I thought I had a good one, but I guess I thought wrong. But other than that, how's it going, gentlemen?
It's going good.
Yeah, doing great.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Should we wrap it up right there?
Let's do it. No, an update for the viewers. I went and did it. I did it.
You spent some money.
Spent some money, boys.
Nice.
I ended up pre-ordering a case of Picard season 2 and 3, and that's not all.
And
a case of Wolverine, Fleer Ultra Wolverine.
Let's go!
So awesome,
dude. What am I doing? What am I doing? I will say, if I pull the 1-1 Wolverine, the medallion, okay, then I'll be happy about it. Otherwise, what am I doing?
It's content. That is content.
12
the
videos.
Viewers wanted it.
It's gonna be awesome.
Everybody wanted
viewers
it.
What they want.
Yes.
That's all I have. I just spent a few $1,000s. No big deal. You know, whatever.
No big deal. Yeah, we do that like every other day.
Oh my God.
I also have a bit of an update for the viewers. From going back to my viewers resolutions, my hobby resolutions. By the time everybody sees this, I will be over 1,000 cards in my eBay store, which is a quarter of the way to my 4,000 goal. So quarter of the way there in February feels pretty good.
Well done, EP.
Thank you.
Well, you know, I just want to let the viewers know that this is our first ever sponsored video. This video is being brought to you by United States Sports Cards on eBay. They're also on Twitter. I'm going to put the links below in the comments. They have over 57,000 cards in their eBay store. You need to check them out because it's like our kind of stuff too. He doesn't sell PSA slabs. He doesn't have $1,000 cards. He has the $2 cards we're always talking about they can be happy buying. So make sure to check out US Sports Cards because this is not a paid spot. We're doing this because that guy is a big help to us. And speaking of being a big help, you see I'm wearing my polo today. I have on some nice smelling cologne. It must be a special occasion, right? Can you smell that?
I can.
Yeah, Jimmy Choo. It's good stuff. Yeah. We finally crossed the 1,000 subscriber threshold. That did not work, but I like the attempt.
Yes, A for effort, dude. 100%.
My bad.
We have over 1,000 people that saw stuff like that. Decided to hit the subscribe button.
I think they hit the subscribe button because of stuff like that, Mike. Because of stuff like that.
Who's to say? Agree to disagree.
Not in spite of, because of.
That one worked as well as like the Three Stooges bottle opener bit that he has that I had to cut like 5 minutes of him trying to get the actual sound to come out of the video. Yeah, but you know, 1,000 subscribers, who knew? Like, this blows my mind. I know we're a small fish still. Don't go thinking we're gonna big time you now. We're not. We're tiny, you know. Sports card investors still only about 300,000 ahead of us. We're catching up, obviously, but you know, we're gonna keep it real. We're gonna stay humble because, you know, come on. We're talking about cards on YouTube. I don't care how many subscribers you have. You're not cool outside of this little bubble. Okay. But other than that, I do have some thank yous I need to throw out there. Ziggy No, he was like the very first content creator that called us out. He has done it constantly, says really nice things about us, which really makes me feel uncomfortable because like, why do people like us that much? Like, just stop saying nice things about me. And big supporter of the channel. Dustin, the sports car dad, he promoted us a long time ago. And, I know there are some people out there that don't like his videos as much as other, but one thing you need to understand about him is he helps a lot of smaller channels and go watch content. How many other bigger channels are doing that? I don't see it. They just don't, and he does. And that, I feel like that's giving back to this hobby and helping get other voices be heard, kind of like ours.
And if you see something on one of those channels, he credits.
Yes.
If he says something, he gives credit for it, and that's a big deal that a lot of content creators don't do.
Absolutely. And the aforementioned United States sports cards, this guy on his Twitter account has been doing giveaways to try to help us get over the hump. And it really helped. We're well over 1,000 now, which is kind of shocking to me. And he's a big part of the stretch run there and just doing it out of the kindness of his heart. He's a great, genuine guy. He's into cards, into the stuff we like. Like I said, go to that link in the description and just look at his eBay store. Follow him on eBay. He deserves it. Follow him on Twitter too. He's a good Twitter follow, and he was a big help in this. And you guys, the viewers, this is for a channel our size, I'm amazed at the interaction we get with our viewership. There are so many of you out there that watch our videos every week, that comment on our videos, that we can have banter with back and forth in the comment sections. And that's what makes it fun. We want this channel to always feel like the card shop. These two guys used to come into the card shop all the time, and we would talk about anything and everything. And this is kind of our virtual way to get that back. The one thing when I closed my card shop that I did miss was that social interaction, the regulars coming in and hanging out and talking and getting to know people. And we're all kind of doing that now in the comment sections when we do the live streams. And I know we all really appreciate that because, come on, we're old guys talking about cards. We're all nerds, but we're all nerds together, and it's a lot of fun. And that's all I have to say about that. How about you guys?
So, in the immortal words of Shania Twain, looks like we made it. Look how far we've come, my baby. We might have took the long way. We knew we'd get there someday. That last part's actually a lie. We never thought we'd get there someday. We thought we'd have 5 subscribers. 3 of them would be us. And then we try and con our significant others into subscribing. But no, we made it. 1,000. It's crazy. Mike, you mentioned the viewers. I'm not going to wax poetic about the folks who have supported us, Dustin and Ziggy and US Sports Cards, because they're great. Check them out. But Scott Spalding, love you, Scott. You've been there since the beginning. Bargain Boxer, Seatown Funk, who likes to make fun of me for not knowing as much about Star Trek as him. Like viewers like that. And I missed obviously 1,000 of you, but viewers like that who come on and they make fun of us in the comments. They support us in the comments. They've been great. So I'm gonna pour one out for them. Usually I have a beer. I'm thinking I need some champagne today. But I don't need that glass. Come on. Come on. Let's have a glass of champagne. Hold on, let me get this glass. Hold on.
Wow.
That's
it's
a
just
lot
one
of
glass.
champagne, dude.
I'm just gonna have one glass of champagne, guys. I swear, just one glass. Oh, there we go. All right. So to the viewers, EP, did you get a glass of champagne as well?
Well, I live downtown, and I've never lived in a semi-affluent neighborhood, but I do know how to celebrate the right way with the champagne
of beers.
The champagne of beers. Yep. I mean, very appropriate. Very appropriate. Yep. Cheers.
In the comments,
Cheers.
let us know
Cheers.
which one you would partake in.
Now I know which one was your favorite back in the day, Mike.
Yeah,
That's good stuff. I
I'd
can tell
be
you.
with
It's
Joe
really good.
actually.
Mm.
But of course, those are all non-alcoholic beverages that they're having.
Yes,
We're just
this
having
is
a little fun with the viewers, but
non-alcoholic champagne.
yeah, definitely.
I agree with everything everybody said. But all the viewers have been awesome. Everybody that shows up for live streams, amazing. Just it's been so much fun. I'm so excited that we were able to share our hobby adventures with you guys, and you guys are interested in our hobby adventures. It's really, really awesome. Everything everybody said about everybody, amazing, and the people that we forgot about too. Just it's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. This is more about you guys than it is us, clearly. But I do want to talk about one of you guys. That's Card Show Kevin. We all know Card Show Kevin's the guy that I buy all my cards from at the card shows. But speaking of card shows, if you're in the Pennsylvania area, you need to go to this card show on Saturday. What's the date, EP? I don't remember.
The
Saturday's
10th,
date.
the day before the Super Bowl. Yeah. Yep.
In Muncie, Pennsylvania. I'm throwing it up on the screen right here. You can see the picture clearly. You know where it is. There's all the information. So if you're in the area, though, EP is going to be set up. I'm going to be walking around, maybe spending money, and Card Show Kevin's going to be there because he's running the thing. So yes, make sure you stop by. It should be a great show. Like this is what the second one that they've had at this location. So the first one was pretty well attended. It's a great location in the First United Methodist Church there, and it's a beautiful church. Have a gigantic gymnasium, great setup, well lit. It's just a great time. So if you're anywhere close, come on over, say hi to EP. He'll even sign an autograph for you because he's big time in all of this. I'm not set up, so I won't be bothered with anything like that. But yeah.
It's also a fundraiser. Like the last one, they're both fundraisers. This one benefits the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank, which feeds thousands and thousands of people across the state. So very, very, very cool. It's for a good cause too. So
yes, it is. So hopefully we'll see some of you there. But EP,
yes,
a couple weeks ago on the podcast, you made a promise to our viewers that if we crossed the 1,000 subscriber mark, you had a little special unboxing that you were going to do on the podcast here.
I did, and I'm actually very excited. I'm very happy about this because, like I said, I'm glad that I'm able to share our hobby journey with you guys because when I got my dad's card collection, this box was in it, this sealed box. It definitely feels like there's a baseball in here. I'm 95% sure there's a baseball. It could be a street hockey ball. Who knows? But I'm pretty sure there's baseball in here.
I hope it is.
Yeah,
I mean, really do.
I don't know if you
guys can see it.
Is
it G.I. Joe cards, EP?
It might be. There's the postage stamp from like 1966.
Wow.
And so for some reason, my dad never opened it. And so I'm going to open it on air. And if you see right here, it says the Moxie Company at the very top. And so that was
I'm going to put you on solo layout here,
okay,
EP,
right.
so you can open that. Everybody can see a little bit.
That's a lot of EP. So that was a soda company in Catawissa. There was a Moxie Company in Catawissa where my dad lived, or where I grew up too. So I'm guessing that this is something to do with Moxie, and there was an athlete who had a deal with Moxie, and I don't know if I've revealed that yet or not, but that athlete was Ted Williams. So it'll be interesting to see what this is. So I have opened the box again. It was completely sealed. I just cut it open, and now I'm making it open. It is also wrapped in tissue paper.
Nice.
So let me get that out of here. So yeah, there it is, wrapped in tissue paper.
It looks like a baseball,
and it does.
EP,
this very well could be a facsimile autograph. Could just be a baseball. So we'll have to see. It is just a Moxie baseball. So there you go. It's a Moxie branded. Nothing fancy. Moxie branded. Nothing fancy. I was looking at it for myself. Sorry about that. But yeah, so there you go. But still cool. It's cool to open up. Cool to have.
I got a suggestion for that baseball.
Yes.
Remember back in the day, Mike, you had all the regulars sign.
I still have that baseball. Yeah.
The three of us should sign that baseball, right?
I don't think EP likes the sound of that too much.
Okay.
I'll think about it.
No, it's fine.
No, I mean,
it's fine, EP.
From my dad's.
I know. I'm just kidding with you, EP.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. I don't like baseball, but that's still a very neat thing.
Yes, awesome.
I'm gonna say something too, and for the viewers out there, I would really appreciate this. Make sure you drop a like on this video, because if we get to 100 likes on this video,
No, I know he's gonna say that's not.
I'm gonna shave my head.
Oh,
Oh,
Right.
okay.
I'll shave
Aren't
my
you
head.
bald already?
Shut up, Mike. I always wear a hat. They don't know.
They do.
I could have a thick mane under here.
Pretty sure that's been referred to before. Yeah.
To the skin. I'll shave it to the skin.
Wow.
If we get to 100 likes.
Oh, brother. Well, enough about all this. I think we need to get to the topics this week, because I have a lot of them. A lot of stuff going on in the hobby this week. I'm going to start with this one. Old SGC grading. We know them, right? We like them. You guys,
Yeah.
well, some of us more than others. They recently graded a 2003-2004 LeBron James exquisite rookie patch auto, numbered to 99. The card got a 9 grade with a 10 auto, and they posted a picture of it. They sent it out on social media, and shortly after they did, people were like, guys, that patch was swapped out. And SGC was like, oh, and did a little research and found out that yes, indeed, that was swapped out. So they contacted the owner. They withdrew the grade. They did grade it then as authentic altered, and the owner agreed to that. But the bigger issue here is you have a card that is well known to have a lot of the patches swapped out on it. If you go out to the blowout forums, this was one of the cards that was specifically shown. Like, it's a numbered card. You can do a little work on this, and people are rightfully, in my opinion, upset that they kind of didn't do their research on this and let it slip through. Thankfully, they posted the picture of it, and people were able to point it out before it got back into the hands of the owner and maybe had been sold and whatnot. It would have been an even bigger issue. So while I do applaud that they're owning the fact that they made a mistake, kind of a problem. Like, companies need to pay a little better attention to some of these high dollar numbered cards and do a little more research on the patches on them and on the autos on them to make sure that nothing has changed, especially for a card that does have a lineage like that people should be able to look it up, right?
Yeah.
Are any of these cards not altered? Like
a lot of them are. Yeah.
Every time we see anything about an altered card, I feel like this is the one at the top of the list. It's kind of crazy how many of these cards specifically. By the way, if you're going to alter a card and put in a nice, put in a new patch, put in a nice patch. Like, it was kind of a crappy patch for one that someone swapped in.
They probably didn't want to make it too obvious.
They wanted to draw attention to it.
I think I did read somewhere that there are at least 12 known swap outs out of the 99. And that's one just documented and stuff that are definitely swapped out.
And I feel all three grading of the major grading companies have made this mistake. I know for a fact BGS has. We now know SGC has, and I'm pretty sure PSA has. Correct me in the comments if anyone knows. But like, this card gets through a lot, and you would think there's only 99 of them. If one of them makes it to your facility, how are you not doing just rudimentary Google search, number one? And number two, how are you not focusing on the patch and the area around the patch a lot more? I'm going to give PSA a little bit of credit here. One of the things that people hate the PSA does when they grade thicker cards and memorabilia cards is they're really critical on that memorabilia box. You know, if there's any cracking or anything going on, like a little tear here and there, which does happen with especially older memorabilia cards. I need the rest of the companies to kind of start looking at that a little bit better. You might be able to notice if the patch has been swapped out. I don't know how good. It's got to be a pretty good switch out if no one catches it.
People have gotten really good at doing that.
Crazy.
Like,
it is
to
crazy.
The point where it is really hard to know that it was swapped out. But
like, are they like pulling the card apart?
I think I'm not totally sure, but I think that's how they do it.
Could you imagine? Like, we joke about me cracking out a Bowman Chrome Tom and Brady out of a BGS. Could you imagine me? I'm like, okay, for today's video, guys, I'm gonna rip apart a LeBron James
$40,000
RPA $40,000 card, rip the card apart, and put a patch in. Craziness.
I think that's a great idea for content. If you're up for it, go ahead.
All right.
The viewers, let Joe know if you want to see
If we
him
get
buy
to a
one of
million
these
likes.
and rip
We'll-
it apart. A million
start
likes?
A
Okay.
million likes.
We'll start a GoFundMe to pay for the card.
We'll do splitsies. The three of us will cover it.
EP has that
Yeah.
through Joe.
That's right.
I mean, I think we definitely talked about this before. I wonder if we even talked about this in episode 1. Like, there needs to be like a hierarchy, right? Of when cards come into these grading places, like, you don't want the brand new guy grading the LeBron James RPA.
I'm sure
Like,
he's
that
not. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
I'm
that
sure
they're
they have
needing to make sure that
specific
the people with experience are doing it, and you would think the people with experience would know. Say, hey, I need to double check this card because of that, or that they need to have some sort of, maybe they put up posters of like the cards that are known for this, and that way everybody knows for sure. Hey, if you see this card, get this card. This is a card you got to check out.
See something,
Kind of thing.
something.
So, right.
See
I
something.
mean, I feel like
I'm
this should be
picturing
happening,
like
right?
the FBI's most
Most wanted.
wanted
I
list
thought
hanging
that
up in the
too.
post office. Have that hanging up in every grader's cubicle. That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you are right though. I mean, there is no excuse for it. So I mean, they made an error, and probably gonna make some people question whether or not they should, or maybe some people will send stuff to them going, oh, we can sneak it through now. I don't know, but
Yeah.
not a good look for them. And I mean, like I said, I'm glad that they owned it, but at the same time, these are the kind of things that you need to catch before you grade it. Like owning, like the companies in this hobby are really good at after the fact saying, oh, yep, we screwed up.
Yeah.
They're not as good at making sure they don't do these things to begin with. I'm not just talking about SGC, all the companies, Panini, Topps, PSA, BGS, you name it.
I'm wondering if they would have caught this, would they have like made a press event out of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like maybe they have caught a lot of these in the past, and we just don't know about it because it's weird to, hey, look at this LeBron card we caught. I don't know how they would do it, but you're right, Mike. They really need to do something so we know and have confidence in them that yes, this one snuck through, but 99.9% of the cards that come through here we've caught all but this one, so I think they catch more than they don't, but it's not a good look. And didn't this happen with a Pokemon card with them recently too? Like I think it was last year. They had a high-end Pokemon card that got they again got in front of the story, but still they shouldn't have slapped it in the first place. I will say the one thing I do like about their label is that they did put altered. Okay, they didn't just put authentic. And I've been talking about potentially buying a big Tom Brady card and kind of consolidating my rookie card collection. The amount of playoff contenders cards that have been labeled authentic, it really bothers me. I wish PSA would do this, put authentic, and then the reason. Is it authentic because they just wanted the auto graded?
Don't they do altered?
I just see authentic. Maybe it is in the when you put in the cert number, but I only see authentic on the label itself. So maybe there's something new, but SGC does put altered, which I very much prefer.
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate that I'm glad they did own it, and authentic altered. It's a big deal in my opinion to make sure you're owning up to it. Like we definitely don't want that to happen in our hobby. My question to you guys is: would you want this card? Would you want an authentic altered card? It doesn't need to be LeBron. I know Joe, you're not a huge basketball fan, but would you guys want an authentic altered card of somebody who was like that, that you really wanted to collect? Would you accept it? No.
No, the Brady thing. I'm not looking at authentic ones. I'll take a PSA 5. Give me a PSA 5 over an altered one.
I would probably consider it depending on
same here.
Like the price difference of a card. Like if it's a card that I definitely couldn't attain in a real grade, then maybe. I mean, I definitely wouldn't like go into a purchase seeking an authentic altered. Like it would have to be there's no way I even at like a 4 I can get this card, but I'll take
settle for it. Yeah.
So that's a question for you guys then. A super low grade, say they were the same amount. super low grade, beat up corners, whatever EP like to say, they tell a story, right?
Mhm.
Or an altered card. If you can get them at the same price, would you take a super low grade one or an altered one?
Well, for me, if it's vintage, I'll take the low grade. But if it's newer, I think I'd probably take the authentic altered. I think a newer card. I want it to be if it's in good shape, and I think authentic altered, I'm okay with that. But vintage, I again, if it's a card from 7 years ago or 8 years ago or something crazy like that, I don't mind it telling the story. So.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that, EP. Like, it'd just be like the LeBron card in particular. If it was a swapped out patch or a mangled card, I think I would rather have the swapped out patch.
And the swapped out patch tells a story in and of itself, because that's kind of what that card is known for now. So it's not, it's not as bad in my book. But yeah, I think I would seek out the lower grade, unless it was like just like someone took it and did this to it and sent it to a grading company.
Do we think the sports card lawyer is going to go to hunt this card down? Do you think this is a must card for
him?
This
is one he won't.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that.
Well, speaking of Paul Lesko, he tweeted about a lawsuit that SGC is not the only grading company that had a little bit of trouble this week. CGC also had a pretty big problem. They brought a lawsuit against two former employees. Let me get the names right here. They're Brandon and Ayana Terrazas. They, in the lawsuit, are accusing them. Basically, let me summarize it for you. Brandon was a grader at CGC for comics. His wife, Ayana, is one of the receivers who takes in the cards from eBay authentication and then takes them to the graders. So that's kind of an interesting little side bit here. I don't think she's actually accused of stealing anything, but Brandon is accused in the lawsuit of stealing people's comic books. I guess basically like getting rid of like the tape that they put, or the seal that they put on the boxes, and like the barcode, and just disposing of them and taking people's books and then sending those books in and getting them graded from CGC after he stole them. And if he didn't like the grades, he would also get rid of the grades and print up other, like reprint certifications and grades of actual comics that had been graded of that book in a higher grade, and would slip those in, and then was selling these on eBay and apparently off of eBay. Crazy that you have an inside job. And like, yes, we don't talk a lot about comics, but we're talking about a grading company, and we're talking about, this could happen anywhere. Like, if this is happening in CGC's comic side, which they've been known for, which they've been around forever for, the potential that it could be happening with cards there is also very high. And like, it makes you wonder, like, we all just assume that you throw stuff into these graders and everything comes back. A lot of people do end up not getting their cards. Like, it's a very small percentage, but like when, say, PSA, you're grading like 1.2 million cards a month. If you have 2 or 3 cards that disappear in that time, it's like doesn't even really count, but there's still real cards that people lost. And seeing the level that an employee of a grading company went to and what he was able to get away with. Again, when we talk about the printing companies and like those one of ones that are supposed to be destroyed, and we talk about how in the hell did this happen? Like, how is this happening with the grader at a grading company? Like, it blows my mind that this is even a thing that's possible to happen. Yet here it happens.
We're going to talk about it later. I'm wondering what he was making an hour. So real life story here. So these are comics, these 3, and there's a Spawn #1 newsstand up here that I sent to be graded by CGC. And I noticed recently there's some kind of mechanical errors with like the label. There's like a splotch here, a splotch there. I have undiagnosed OCD. So I was looking at those and I was like, you know what? Should I just spend the money and send these back to get reholdered. I mean, it's the same as cards. It's like, I think it's like $20 to reholder them. So it's not that much money. It's no big deal. And then I read this story. I'm like, no. I'm not risking, like, these are books that are kind of, I guess you could call them family heirlooms a little bit, right? Like these 3 books specifically. Like, so I myself, I don't grade much anyway, but this just has to make people who grade cards to see this, because it's not an isolated incident. You know what I mean? Like, these are not the only 2 people who have tried to scam. Like, we were talking about Jeff Wilson's store and his pricing structure on, was it last week's pod? And there were some comments. This one comment was playing devil's advocate and saying, well, you have to, in order to have employees for a store like this, you really need to make sure you trust them, because someone could, if someone comes in and it's a buddy of them, they could give them a huge, massive deal on a card, just kind of, work the system. And I'm like, boy, it's what a world you have to live in to think that that's the first thought.
That would almost have to be like a car dealership where they had one person in charge, that the sales manager, that employee goes to the sales manager.
Right. Exactly.
But that's in the side.
But like, for your thought process, like, how do you think that people are going to do something like that? And then you see this and you're like, yeah, people would do something like that. Like, people are just the worst, aren't they? Like, just people in general are like kind of the worst. And
to quote Joe Day, people are stupid. People are the worst.
People are assholes. I
cleaned it up a little for you.
Cleaned it up. I forgot. We're monetized. But yeah, like, at the end of the day, this is not an isolated incident. I really don't believe it is. I think there are other people out there who are doing things like here and there that, you're putting your trust in a card company's hands to do the right thing. I'm sorry, a card grader hands to do the right thing. And a lot of the time they do, but some of the time they don't. And it really, really sucks when they don't.
Yeah, Joe, you hit the nail on the head. Like, you're naive if you think this isn't happening. This hasn't happened before, and it's not going to happen again. It's not happening right now at any one of the grading companies. I mean, you like to think that everybody's on the up and up, but I guarantee you, we probably haven't heard about it, right? People have probably been fired for this. It just never got out there. Like, I'm sure this has happened at other grading companies, and we've also talked about this kind of stuff happening, and it seems like every time it's an inside job. Somebody from inside the store or from inside the shop has access to all of the cards that should have been destroyed, and they're the ones that get it out there. And so it is gross. And as we've said a bazillion times, scammers going to scam. They're going to find a way, like just like Jeff Goldblum says in Jurassic Park, life finds a way. So scammers will find a way if they can.
They will.
And, I remember that quote. That's a great quote from that movie. I love that quote.
Well, but when I saw the lawsuit was out there, when I saw Paul Lesko's tweet, I thought this was in conjunction with the other CGC issue where people were breaking. I'm like, they were employees that did that. And then I started reading it. I'm like, oh no, this is completely different. Like, I wouldn't send a comic to CGC. It's a funny thing. I saw Neo actually had a video about should PSA start grading comic books, and and my initial reaction was, why bother? And I'm like, I saw this lawsuit and knowing the other thing, and I'm like, you know what? That might be a brilliant move for them to get into comic books right now. Like, clearly, I'm sure people that have CGC comic books are like really worried right now that the value of their stuff is going to be dropping, because if you don't have confidence in a grading company that things are being done legitimately, and they have 2 major issues in a period of 2 or 3 weeks, like, they're prime for the taking if another company could come in and do things. And he might not be so wrong about that. PSA might actually be able to take over the comic market too, right?
So a couple of things there. So for those that don't collect comic books or don't take that, look for that content on YouTube, CGC is the PSA of the comic book world. Like, they grade far and away the most comics. It's not even close. And the values reflect that. Very, very similar to PSA, which I find ironic when people complain about PSA and their CGC card collectors. And it's like, well, CGC does the same thing with pretty much everything else. So let's calm down on the damnation there. the other thing is the number 2 grader is basically Beckett. BGS, it's CBCS, I believe is the acronym. But Beckett and a lot of the content creators I've been watching, the big ones, Very Gary, for example, was on our channel, did a great interview with him. He's still going with CGC because, again, he's a reseller. Like, that's where the money is. There are other collectors, and there's this one guy, he very much reminds me of like baseball card collector, investor, dealer a little bit. Doesn't have the big following, but just the way he talks about comics, like like Crystal talks about cards. But he is thinking about going with CBCS for his personal collection stuff now. Like, he feels more confident in their grading. He feels they're a better grader. It's almost like SGC, right? They're a better grader. They're more accurate. They're not as like all over the place. Right. Well, no, I'm talking about the CBCS, BGS, probably not, but so many acronyms, I'm losing it. But all this being said, yes, PSA could come in, and it'd be interesting to see how they would do as the low man on the totem pole, how quickly they could potentially move up because they're such a big company.
Joe, I mean, Mike, you have the one graded comic behind you, but I know, Joe, you've done it more recently, and you've got the cards on the wall there. What does this change your opinion about CGC? Would you still grade with CGC? Like, if you happened to cross a cache of awesome comics, would you still grade them with CGC? Would you think about going to Beckett, or what would you do? Would you choose PSA if PSA was doing it?
I wouldn't choose PSA out of principle. I would probably still go. It would depend what I want to do with the comics. It's very similar to cards, right? If I wanted to take those comics, grade them, and make the most money I could, very similar to cards with PSA, I would send them to CGC. Very similar to Mike's complaint about SGC. A lot of people don't like the CBCS slabs. Like, they're a little flimsier. They don't feel as good. They don't feel as sturdy. So I don't know. I would probably try a third grader, and there are third-party graders out there for comic books as well. But for me, I'd probably go with CGC still, but I wouldn't feel great about it. I would not feel great about it at all, and I would insure the hell out of those books. Like, I would make sure they got there, and at that point, it's on their hands, but I would put the declared value as high as is humanly possible.
And you would definitely use CGC because that's what you have behind you, and you wouldn't like to have 2 different slabs. We know.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I have different slabs up here, Mike.
Yeah, but not the comics. You have the comics displayed on the. Yeah,
they're
no chance
on display. I mean, they're just too.
Yeah, they look beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, EP, I cut you off.
That's right. I was just gonna say the CGC. I lost my train of thought.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to save you a little bit by saying this. We just talked about SGC screwing up the LeBron. All grading companies have these things happen. It's just how they respond to them. So if CGC responds well, and it seems they've responded well to the first thing with the swapping out the comic books. Let's see how they respond to this. They have a lawsuit, so obviously they're taking it seriously. I think the safest time to send a comic book to CGC is like today. Right? Like, the security is really, really locked in today.
But they need to come out and let people know what they're doing to make sure this doesn't happen. Like we need to see. And like, even as a card collector, like, I'm not sending in to CGC right now, not with all the chaos going on there. I don't know for sure if my cards are going to be safe if I send them to them. And that's that's the nail in the coffin for a grading company. Like, I don't know, this could be a big issue for them. I could be totally wrong, but I know my opinion, if a grading company can't assure that my stuff isn't going to be stolen by the grader that's supposed to grade it, I'm not even thinking about using you. So yeah.
Thank you guys for stalling for me. I was able to grab it, snatch it back. You're not worried about your grades though, right? Like, this has nothing to do with the grading, and like you still think they're probably fair graded, like the grades are all fair and like that sort of stuff. Like, you're not worried about anything sort of that thing, right? Like,
the people that the Alico 3 equivalent in comic books, like, they feel like CGC is still a pretty fair grader. They'll say, "Oh, I had this one pegged at a 7.5," and it'll be like a 7.5 or a 8.0 or whatever. So like, I don't feel concerned about their grading scale, but at the end of the day, if you don't have books to grade,
their books get stolen, right?
Stole them. What's it matter how good they are at grading those books?
Right.
Well, we talked about PSA and maybe them getting into grading comics, but the one thing they're doing is grading a lot of cards still. They graded 1.2 million cards again last month, and now they have a new $15.99 baseball special for anything from 1993 to present, but they have upped the declared value from 200 to 400. So they're now a little lower price point, and they're accepting cards worth a little more. They're slowly getting to where I thought they would be, but I mean, this is gonna bring in a lot of cards too. Like with all the new baseball releases, EP, your Topps baseball guy is $15.99 price point, a price point where you're like, you know what? I'll take a chance on some of these cards, maybe a base rookie card, maybe some of the lower end inserts. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. I mean, like the SGC deal was $9 last year. They did for the multiple products was a way better deal, obviously. But this is only $6 more, so you're gonna you have to choose a little better products. But I mean, you could definitely grade like some of the top rookies, and there's going to be some really fun rookies coming out in the first series of Topps. Definitely like the Topps Chrome rookies, that sort of stuff. Like the higher end stuff is definitely going to be a good price. Again, this is only going to happen for a month, but like you said, Mike, I wonder if this is them again testing the waters to see where their prices kind of need to be overall. But I mean, $16 it's only what $3 difference from their normal, like the $19.99 for their the normal one. So it's only $3 difference, but it feels like I was supposed to see $4. But it does feel like a pretty good deal in my opinion.
How about you, Joe? Sending in all your baseball cards?
I have a stack of baseball. I really need to get graded. So maybe. No, I mean, in terms of the deal itself, I guess it ultimately comes down to when you'll get the cards back. If you can send them to SGC, pay $9, get them back in a week, right? And then sell them and then kind of like rinse and repeat. Maybe SGC is still the way to do it. If you have time, if you can wait, baseball, there's a lot more prospecting. So there's a lot of cards that you're thinking, I can just send them to PSA, wait on them a little bit and hold and see how the prospect does. Maybe that's the way you want to go. But in terms of resale value, if you have an SGC 9 in your hand and a PSA 9 in your hand, this one is going to sell for more. So if you can hold out and wait, might make sense. The extra $5-6 won't make won't be the end of the world in terms of a $400 card at the end of the day.
And their turnaround time has been a lot faster. The last order
That's what I've heard.
I got back in like 3 weeks, and the other order we just sent a bigger order in and is in grading already. It's been there a little over a week. So I know I did hear that they had to extend the last special like an extra day because I think the website crashed on the last day because people, I guess, were trying to get in orders. So maybe they'll have a little bump there that'll slow things down a little bit. But they do have 50 business days for this special, but things have been running like definitely under 4 weeks and in that 3-week range, which is really good compared to what we were a couple of years ago.
Right.
EP and I watch Little Victories on YouTube quite a bit, and he does a lot of grading reveals. And he has been like, he's not a huge, like, he sends all his cards to PSA because he is at the end of the day a reseller. But he's been waxing poetic about how quickly they've been turning the cards around. Surprisingly, well within a month, he's been getting a lot of his special orders. So, I mean, if they can keep that up, they can rival with SGC's turnaround times. Plus, the resale value on the back end of it is higher. I mean, if I was a reseller, why would you send anywhere else? It just wouldn't make sense otherwise.
I think he even said like his first reveal from this special, like his first order from this special, got back to him in like a week or 10 days. So practically SGC timing, which is kind of insane. Like that's really, really, really crazy. And I believe that their time frame, their estimated time for the previous special was 65 days. And now it's 50. I think they're realizing
they're recalibrating.
We can turn these around. Yeah, we can realize we can turn around these.
Yeah, the order that we have together, EP, like the estimated return time is April, but it's already in grading. So
right.
Yeah, they really did set the bar way too high for that, and they're getting stuff back a lot faster. But the reason that is because they're hiring graders And this came out this week and people had a little bit of fun with it. So let's have a little fun with it too. The entry-level graders are making $17 per hour. I believe this is in their Jersey City facility that they just opened up too. So, yeah, $17 an hour. A lot of people had some fun with this because clearly $17 per hour doesn't seem like a whole lot for people that are assigning so much value to a collectible. Their average salary, I guess, runs between $20 to $32 for like their actual graders that are working for them for a while. But people are a little shocked that that's such a low, entry level salary, right? Are we making too much out of it?
Like at first I was like, boy, that seems really low. And I thought to myself, well, what should they be paid? Like, I don't know. Like, should they be paid $50 an hour? Should they, like, I don't know what a grader should be paid for doing something that, by the way, a lot of us would think is an awesome job. Though, to be fair, for PSA, it's more like Amazon. So their graders probably have to wear diapers and work, 10 hours a day. But if you do the math, that's $35,000 a year. And I don't presume to know anyone's financial situation or anything like that, but that's not a lot of money, especially in Jersey City, which, there's, what Philadelphia is super close. Like that's probably a Philadelphia suburb kind of thing too. Like, so it's probably not cheap living out there. I wonder what it's in their California office. I wonder what the entry-level graders get paid there, because if it's not double that, how are you even surviving? Like it's very, very expensive out in their California area, I would suspect. I don't know what the answer is. Like $17 an hour seems super low, but I don't know what a grader should be paid when they're first starting. That being said, how confident are you as people who send a PSA? And I guarantee you, these people who are making $17 an hour are the ones who are doing most of the low end specials, right? So how confident are you? Or are you thinking, if he's really mad at his boss that day, he's giving everyone tens? Like I'm curious on your perspective as people who still grade with PSA. Like, are you blown away by this, or does it seem like it's not too bad for someone?
I mean, Go ahead, Mike.
No, you go.
I was just going to say the median income for the county I live in Pennsylvania is like $35,000, $36,000. But again, like you said, Joe, this is central Pennsylvania, Monterey County. There's no major city anywhere nearby, and the cost of living is exponentially higher at in a lot of these other places. Like it's ridiculous higher, especially we're talking about California. So like I feel like it is. There's probably a lot of people looking and say, well, $17 an hour, that's not bad compared to what I make where I live. But in terms of they're probably in like a major metropolitan type of area, and the amount of money that they're getting is probably not very much at all. And I don't worry that they're not going to grade the cards well. I like to think, the kind of person I am, I like to think that people want to do a good job. I think that the people want to do a good job. A lot of people like to think they're doing a job when they're doing a good job. Doesn't mean that they always necessarily are, but I think people aren't trying to be bad at their jobs typically. So, and the hope is that they will get compensated for it eventually. But that's my thought.
The problem is, like, what kind of people are you drawing with $17 an hour? Like, I know here, like in rural area, you can work at Sheetz, which for people outside of here, it's a big convenience store, like, and make close to, if not that money. So like, you're not going, I wonder too, though, is it the fact that, well, we're PSA, so maybe people will want to work for us because they'll think it'd be cool to be a grader. They're into the hobby and they want to do this, so we don't have to pay quite as much to bring them in. And if they work out, we'll give them a little bump. I mean, they do offer benefits. So like the 17 an hour plus benefits is a little, misleading than just 17. But like, I've said it all along, even before this, though, like we put so much value assigned to these cards to people that we have no idea how much experience they have grading cards. We don't know how long they're looking at the cards, yet their opinion means more than mine, we've all been in this hobby for over 30 years. There are a lot of people that can grade just as well as that person that's working for PSA for whatever amount of money. and because they say it's a 10, it's all of a sudden worth like 4 times the value. You're taking like a $10 card and all of a sudden it's a $50 card just because somebody looked at it for 30 seconds, went, okay, it's a 10. Like that's the part that has always driven me crazy. Like you've watched Elite Co 3, you watch Baseball Card Collector Investor Dealer. They know how to grade these cards better than the people that are grading them, period. You can fight me, I'll fight you back. That is just the fact. Like, yes, I'm sure there are graders there that are very good, that are very experienced,
but they're not making $17 an hour.
They're not the ones looking at the bulk of the stuff that's being graded. And it just, at the end of the day, I'm worried at some point down the road, this is a house of cards, and people are going to be eventually go, you know what? This doesn't really make any sense. Why would I pay $50 for that $8 card just because it's in a 10 case and half of them that were graded came back a 10? Like that, I don't know.
Our guy Bargain Boxer made a point. I believe it was Bargain Boxer made a point how he has been anti-grading since the jump. I've gotten more to that space. I don't send cards off to be graded very often anymore. If at the last one I did was I think it's that one. So that's probably the last card I graded. I don't have any plans to send any cards to be graded because of that very reason, Mike. I mean, why is their opinion better than my opinion? Why is their opinion better than Alico 3's opinion or Baseball Card Collector Investor Dealer's opinion? I trust EP looking at a card and grading it more than probably an entry-level grader. Because guess what? EP is looking at that card for longer than 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we all do when we send them in. We all do.
Absolutely. Like, we look at our cards when we think about submitting something, probably an hour a card, to be honest. Like, if it's a really, really expensive card, you're looking at that card for a while, looking for any little blemish that could possibly be on it. These graders, someone did the math. Wasn't it like 15 seconds a side or 10 seconds each side or something like that? Like, It's really, really quick. To me, I see no reason to grade if it's a card for your personal collection, but there still is that value in flipping them. And that is what is driving this hobby. You can take a $10 card, make it a $50 card for the cost of $10 or $15 or whatever. Why wouldn't you do that? Because it's just a free 20 some dollars in your pocket. Why wouldn't you do that? So that's going to drive this hobby so often. The thing about grading ultra modern specifically, which really annoys me, is nowadays every card that comes out of a pack, sleeve, top loader, box. Like, there is no point in grading ultra modern, and the ultra modern is probably a lot of what these $17 an hour graders are looking at, to be fair, because you're sending in a lot of ultra modern, a lot of bulk ultra modern. Why are we grading that? Why do we care if one's a 9 and one's a 10 when they look exactly the same? What does it matter? No card has a chance to get beat up anymore in our hobby. Really so why does it matter to grade them? Just put them in a really nice one touch.
I feel like we'll never get the total information, but I would love to know how many graders they have. We find out how many cards they grade. I would like to know the actual number. And I wonder if they have like a quota they have to meet where they only spend they can only spend so much time per card. Yeah, they probably do, right? Like, especially like,
and we'll never know. They will never share that.
But I mean, I feel like it's probably the case. Like, you have to get X number of cards done today, so you have to meet this time frame. And so they have one card that actually takes a little bit of time to look at. Like,
I made the Amazon joke. How far from the truth is that? How far from the truth is that they're at that table looking at cards through a loop for 8 hours? Does anyone think that is outlandish of a possibility? I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
Well, I have some bad news, guys. Word came out this week that MetaZoo is closing down.
I don't. What are we talking about here? I don't know what that is.
Okay. In other news, it was announced that Topps and Fanatics signed a deal with the UFC, which is kind of interesting because I think the UFC Panini license actually ran out at the end of 2023. And we're a month into 2024 before it was even announced. And the first product, the Topps Chrome UFC, is going to be coming out on the 28th of February. So
how is that? Wait a minute. How is that possible, Mike?
I know they just came to a deal and they're going to have cards out that fast.
Oh man,
they're just churning them out. That is lucky, isn't it?
Skill plus luck equals UFC coming out in like 2 weeks, right? Oh, amazing turn of events.
Kind of crazy with like how early that Fanatics was announcing all these other deals, like years before they're actually going to be making the cards. Some may have a couple years to go yet before they're making the cards. Yet this one, for some reason, they didn't announce until like somebody was like, oh crap, that's right. We have the UFC deal. Maybe we should like let people know we're going to be making cards in a couple weeks, you know?
And some dude just like, wait a minute. I've been working on this on the side. I have all the cards for the entire set already made. You're like, oh great, perfect.
I've been texting you about it for like 3 months.
I've already designed the whole thing. We just need to send it to the printer.
More than $17 an hour, because that is some efficient right there, baby.
Yeah.
They're probably making 22 an hour.
22 at least.
Yeah, not shocking. I mean, UFC, WWE both own TKO, same company now. Obviously, they were always going to get this deal. But, I mean, Topps Chrome, I'm not a UFC guy, but seeing a new Topps Chrome product coming back from another franchise where they used to have it and they lost it makes me kind of excited to see what we're going to get for football going forward, what we're going to get for basketball, what we're going to eventually get for WWE. Kind of cool and amazing that they can get that done.
Oh man,
I dropped my notes here. I had to pick that up.
They're turning it out. They are not messing around. Yeah, I'm with you, Mike. Like, as much as people might watch the pod and think, man, Joe Day must really hate Fanatics and Topps. I don't. Depending on what video you have, you might think, man, Joe Day really hates Panini.
A case could be made.
A case could be made for both, which makes me feel good. I feel like I'm right down the center with this whole thing. But I will say,
hate for everybody.
I hate everybody.
Except our viewers.
Except our viewers. Damn it, Mike, you beat me to it. Except our viewers and our over 1,000 subscribers. I love you all. But in all seriousness, you're right, Mike. When I heard Topps Chrome of anything coming out, I get excited and I am thrilled, thinking in a couple of years, I buy a case of Topps Chrome football when it comes out. I don't know. Should we as a channel buy a case of Topps Chrome football when it comes out? Like something needs to happen surrounding Topps Chrome football, because that was my favorite set. We all know that, you know, like from 1999, buying basically a case per pack, I think, and per box. I love that stuff. So I'm excited for that. For this one specifically, they knew it was coming. They had this prepared. They were ready to go. And I'm happy for the collectors. You know, like we can make fun like, oh, they were doing, this was all in the works for months and months. They were working on the set. Well, good. The collectors are at least getting something out of it. That was our biggest fear with the WWE leaving Panini or trying to leave Panini and then going maybe to Topps. Like, how long are we going to go without WWE cards? And that really sucks for the collectors. Now, at least there's something out there for the
WWE. The Panini Elite is actually supposed to be coming out sometime later in February.
And the Pen Pal cards look awesome. They really, really do. I like those Pen Pal cards.
Finally, there's going to be a new product for WWE fans. Thought CP?
Great news for UFC fans, like you said, Joe. I agree with both of you 100%. And I also want to just say that, like, if they, we haven't seen the UFC cards yet. I don't know if they released any photos of them or anything.
Yeah, there
exciting.
Was.
Oh, there was
really cool. Yeah, I saw the card and I'm like, oh, they look cool.
Okay, well, that's what I wanted to hear, because now they have how many years lead time do they have to think about what they're going to do with the basketball and football stuff?
A couple more years,
like they got time to really they're going to come out with some real bangers for the first sets, right? Like it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about it. Yeah,
the secondary market is going to be crazy for boxes of Topps Chrome football when it comes out, and Topps Chrome basketball
and basketball. Yeah.
Basketball probably more than football, to be fair, but it's going to be crazy.
Pretty close, I would bet.
Yeah.
Well, something else that the market went crazy for Leaf. You guys know about the Stanley Cups, right? Not the hockey trophy.
Oh, which
then no, I don't.
Big, gigantic water jugs made by Stanley.
That everybody has on TikTok. The ones that everybody has on TikTok. Yeah.
God
people
showed me something about Stanley.
Lined up stores to get those. People are fighting over them. They're a big thing.
Collecting all the colors.
Yeah, in a brilliant move of marketing, Leaf did a collaboration with Stanley and released a Stanley Cup with the Leaf logo on it. You bought them. They were $149 and you got a pack of cards with it. The cards, there were also one of ones in there.
What?
$149, yes.
American?
And they sold out instantly. Like, wow. Like,
what?
It's true. It's true.
What is happening right now? If someone bought a Stanley thing,
with a Leaf logo on it,
with a Leaf logo for like 150 USD, we're talking here.
Mm-hmm.
What?
And they sold out instantly, Joe, like right away.
If they made a Stanley
Cup, me $150. I like. What are you doing with? How much free money do you have?
You're just out of touch, man. You need to have those. You need to hydrate. Hydrating is very important.
Is it very
this
in?
Is well known. Yes.
All right, hold on. BP, let's hydrate real quick.
All right.
Yeah, that's not exactly the hydrating.
There's water in that.
If they made a Stanley Cup that looked like the Stanley Cup, I would still not spend $149.99 on it.
But you get awesome. A pack of cards too.
A whole pack of cards?
Yeah. And you can get one-on-ones out of it.
Didn't Lids do something like this too, where they sold hats and they also had a pack of Fanatics cards or something? There was something last year. Was it Topps Chrome? I'll tell you what, all joking aside, because I think this is all ridiculous, but joking aside, Leaf, man, I don't know. You're not going to bring up the other Leaf story, are you? I'm going to bring it up in passing. You are, so I won't even say it. But Leaf, I'll tell you what, they know the angles. Even without Brian Gray, he imprinted something on these people at Leaf to know all the angles, and this is great. I mean, you're right, Mike. This is great.
They made money.
They did. They absolutely made money.
Yeah, I've talked about this before too, and this goes back to episode 1. You listen to Michael Rubin. This is going to be a thing in the hobby, whether like you think it's silly or not. I honestly think this was brilliant. Like I saw it and I was like, wow, that was so smart of them.
It can be silly and brilliant at the same time.
Yep.
But there are going to be all kinds of collaborations done. I mean, it's a huge thing in like the apparel business and the sneaker business, like with celebrities or things that are hot like this, doing collaborations and doing limited run products. And this is going to take over a hobby when Fanatics has control of everything. And I think it's kind of cool. Like it builds excitement for stuff. And you see people trying to get all the different apparel and stuff online. Like it's a big thing, and that will be coming to the hobby, and it will probably bring some new eyeballs to our hobby. But yeah, this is brilliant. They sold out. Like, I don't know how fast, but I saw the tweet like 14 hours after they did it, and it was sold out by then. And I think it was sold out long before that. I think it was almost instant. But yeah, like how brilliant.
The cross branding that Fanatics can do will make this look like nothing in a year, right? Like Fanatics with the different products they have, and that they're in every store. I mean, they're going to do a lot more cross promotion between the apparel side, the gambling side, and as Mike drops his notes again, the just throwing notes left and right. The apparel side, the gambling side, and the card side. There's so much cross promotion that they're going to do. As cool as the Stanley Cup thing is, it's going to pale in comparison to what Fanatics will be able to do in the next couple of years.
I really look forward to it. Like I've said this before a number of times. I love to think back to the days when you could go into KB Toys or Kmart and have specially branded cards that for just those things.
Comic books were the same.
Oh, really? Did they have that too?
Yeah, they had comic books too. Yeah.
They're not worth much on the resale value because they printed them by the millions probably, but they're still very, very
they
cool.
are in good condition. They really are.
Okay.
Because again, they were a KB toy, so they were like in wrappers or they were like thrown up on a shelf. So if you get something in good condition, it's worth way more than something you could get at a card shop or a comic book store for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I look forward to that. So yeah,
that's not the only exciting Leaf news. I saved this for last because we saved the best for last. Leaf has acquired Press Pass. We love Press Pass.
Love it.
We love it. I'm sorry. Some people might not. Somebody might not care. They kind of just became a NASCAR brand, but we know it before when it was a basketball, it was football. We have our 8 million Tom Brady Press Pass rookies. I mean, at the end of the day, who knows what's going to come out of this, but kind of cool. I want Press Pass to be revived a little bit. I like the stuff that Leaf does with like the 89 Pro Set design. Like,
yes,
even the individual autographs they release that they do a card like that. I think that those are great. I have the Tony Hawk and the Shaun Whites out of the set they did recently that they had.
Is that what that was?
Design. Not
that
the
was a Pro Set
one.
design.
No, I had gold ones out of the set. But like now they're going to be able to do some of the iconic Press Pass designs and maybe some of the cool like die cut inserts they had. I don't know. Yeah. Be interesting to see what they do with it. But being retro guys like us, I mean, Press Pass. Come on, who doesn't love Press Pass? Let's do it. Do it right, Leaf. Do it like you did the Stanley Cup. Maybe do a Press Pass Stanley Cup. I don't know.
How about Press Pass metal?
Yeah, I was gonna say
Press Pass going to be a thing, right?
Yeah.
Press Pass Chrome is definitely going to be a thing.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you, and make sure you watch 3 cards this week. Watch it every week; it's a great show. But I brought up the Tom Brady Press Pass rookie as one of my 3 cards. It's probably the most expensive card of the 3 cards history, but like it's such an iconic card because Press Pass was always out first, and card collectors are not exactly known for their willpower. I've said this numerous times. So when stuff like
they buy Score
and Sage and Score would come out super early, people were all over it. And that's what I love about Press Pass. It was out like months. They didn't even have the pro teams on them because they weren't drafted yet, right? They came out before the draft. So, but Mike was right. They printed it to oblivion so much that he just gave me a Tom Brady rookie card. That's how many he had. But yeah, I mean, it's super cool. And the way Leaf does things, they're really innovative for what they are. I think they can do a lot with the Press Pass license. I think it'll look cool. And I really, really want, like they did Pro Set Metal, I really, really want Press Pass Metal. I think that would be a cool box of cards. I would buy a box for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to take that like one step further. I thought the same thing. As soon as Mike started talking about Press Pass, I immediately thought of like the basketball cards that were die cut with the net, the net from the basket.
The net fusion, I think they were.
Yeah, and the football cards that were the X's and O's. Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, like just there, and to see them, and then in chromium, like a chromium version, like a metal, like a Leaf metal version, that's really exciting to me. Like, can you imagine getting somebody like one of those X's and O's with an autograph, like a one of the X's and O's metal with an autograph on it or something like that? Like they're
or the die cut number cards. Remember those?
Yeah, definitely.
Those were really cool.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember having a Peerless Price number 37 and having that die cut on the 3 was just so cool. I don't know why. It was silly, but Leaf is going to do that, slap an autograph sticker on it, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to look cool.
Okay, well, I think we probably covered enough this week. Once again, thank you to everybody watching. Thank you. We're still over the moon about this, but hey, sports card investor, Jeff Wilson, we're coming. We're coming at you. All right, guys. That was a fun chat this week, and we'll see you next week. Take care, guys.
See you, boys.
Adios.